Today's teaching will be on the demonstration of the 37-point mandala offering, along with the reciting the whole section on the mandala offering practice, which is in the Mundo practice book. So first of all, before one offers the mandala or starts anything, one needs to first set up the mandala shrine, the shrine mandala offering. So for that, just as in the diagram which is in the Mundo textbook, there should be a mandala in the center with 5 heaps, which signify or symbolize the Guru, the tutelary deities, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So there are 5 heaps on the mandala, and then surrounding the mandala there will be several bowls. So in the first bowl there will be water, and this is just a usual water offering, sort of like to signify a drink. And then the second water offering will be water offering for washing the feet. And then the third bowl can either be filled with water and one can place a flower on it, or it can be filled with rice and one can place a flower on it. Then for the fourth bowl, one can fill it up with rice and insert incense in it. And then for the fifth, one can place a bowl filled with rice and then put a lamp on it, or one can just put a lamp on it without a bowl. One can just place a lamp without a bowl. That is also fine. And then following that, the sixth offering would be scented water. So for that one can either just fill a bowl with water and place it, or one can fill it with rice and then place a conch shell filled with water in it. And when the water which you fill the conch shell can be saffron water. And then for the seventh bowl, one can fill it up with rice and place a fruit in it, or one can just simply place the fruit in a bowl without filling it up with rice, or one can just put a plate with fruit or anything that is edible, or it can be a dolma if you have one. And then for the last offering, one places a bowl and that will be filled with rice, and that just sort of simply signifies or sort of supposed to mean and signify a direction holder. So it's supposed to be a direction holder. So that is the shrine mandala offering. So after having set up that shrine, then one proceeds to practice the mandala offering. So having first done the refuge and the generation of the enlightenment thought, now one will recite the mantra Om Subhava Shuddha Sarva Dhamma Subhava Shuddha Ham. So by reciting this, the meaning of the mantra is all phenomena are totally pure from the beginning. So when one recites this, one should visualize that all of this, the perception one has, all of the appearances, the place where you are sitting, the place surrounding the house, the walls, the roof, the outside of the house, the valley and whatever, everything, all of the land is sort of dissolves into emptiness, the nature of emptiness. And then one recites Brumlirinchi Shame Pojangyu, Senti Penye Dawa Zebeteng, Jizu Lama Doji Changiku, Tsembe Rabzi Geshin Zumbadeng, Takurgibe Lama Namgikor, Dundu Yidam, Yesu Sangedam, Gyabdu Tamchi Yundu Gendunam, Shian Gamne Gazu Tindartim, Tenam Susutone Urchebe, Chojishinam Gawa Sedanje, Pamenamka Kawa Gentande, Sosotimbe Tameye Megyu. So when one recites that, one should visualize that from the empty, the nature of emptiness, arises the syllable Brum. And from the broom, the syllable broom, arises a mansion, a celestial mansion, as it says, and in the mansion, in the middle of the mansion, there is going to be there arises a lion-supported throne. So 2 lions in each direction of the throne, and so they support or hold up the throne. And on the throne, on top of the throne, there is a lotus and sun and moon disk, and on that, seated on that, is one's own guru, from whom one has received Vajrayana empowerments. And in this case, it would be someone who one has from whom one has received the lamje and the like. So one's own guru is seated on the sun and moon disk and on the lion throne. But the guru does not appear in the human form, but rather in the form of Buddha Vajradhara, whose color is blue and is wearing a lot of celestial garments and is holding the Vajra and bell in this way. So one should visualize the guru in that form. And the Buddha Vajradhara, who is none other than your guru, is seated, smiling and very happy and joyous. And then one should also visualize that surrounding Buddha Vajradhara is the lineage gurus, all of the lineage gurus. And then in front of the Buddha Vajradhara there is the tutelary deities, or also known as the Idam deity. And on the right side of the Buddha Vajradhara there's all of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and 3 times. And then behind Buddha Vajradhara there is the Dharma textbooks, which symbolizes the Dharma. And then on the left side of Buddha Vajradhara there is the enlightened bodhisattvas, which are the Sangha. And then also one should visualize that surrounding all of them on many vast cluster of clouds, there are other objects of refuge. And from all of their hearts, one should visualize that many light rays issue forth and travel to the many Buddha realms, or the Buddha fields in all of the 10 directions, and sort of invite the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas residing in all of the directions, the 10 directions. And by inviting them, they all arrive in the sky in front of oneself, and then they sort of dissolve into the objects of refuge that one has just generated. So by that, the samaya aspect and also the wisdom aspect become merged and become non-dually emerged. They become one and not separate. So that sort of the whole point of that is to make them truly alive. Because one generated the body of all of the Buddhas, one's own guru, the Buddhas and the surrounding retinue. And then when we invite the mind of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and they enter it, then what we have just generated becomes truly animate or alive. So now we are ready to make offerings to them and to pray to them. So following that visualization, one now must make offerings to them. So for that, one visualizes that from oneself emanates the goddesses, the different types of goddesses, the goddesses who hold water offerings, the 2 water offerings, and then there's the goddesses who hold flowers and the like. So visualize that from oneself, these goddesses issue forth, and these goddesses in turn make offerings to the objects of refuge. So when one recites the mantra, one needs to do the hand mudras, and along with that one should visualize at the same time that one is making the different offerings. So in order to do this, one recites Omu Guru Buddha Bodhisattva Saparevara Argam Padam Bübe Dübe Aloke Gende Nevede Shabda. And then after having done that, then one should recite the Dharani of the cloud of offerings. So the meaning of that is right below the mantra, so I will not mention that, but I will just recite the mantra. So when one does this, one can pick up one's vajra and bell and use that while reciting the mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Devasara Pramadana Tata Kathaya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Kyatham Beze Beze Ma Beze Beze Ma Bia Beze Ma Beze Siddha Beze Ma Buddhi Mendo Beze Tamana Devasara Mahavarana Vishuddhane Beze. So with that one recites the Dharani of the cloud of offerings. And then following that, one recites the 7 limb prayer. The first one can recite the short version, which goes as Gyamne Thabanamna Chasashi Kusa Namdul Chibe Tingichu Tome Kowasabe Tidunsha Leje Sonam Kuna Jayrang Seje Gyawe Chuku Gowaku Tedanyang Mida Shusode Gezo Drove Chanshu Tabjin Mons. So the first line, which reads as I prostrate to the holy place of refuge, is the first of the 7 limb, which is prostration. The second, which reads as I offer a cloud of offerings like that of Samantabhadra, is the second limb, which is to make offerings. The third is I confess all misdeeds and downfalls accumulated since beginningless time. So that is the third limb, which is the confession of negative deeds. Then the fourth, which is I rejoice in all the merits of virtuous deeds, is the limb of rejoicing in the good deeds. It's the fourth limb. Then for the fifth, one recites, I request the conquerors along with their sons to turn the wheel of Dharma. And so that is the fifth limb, which is requesting the Buddhas to turn the wheel of Dharma. The sixth is, I entreat those conquerors to remain and not pass into Nirvana. So this is the sixth limb, which is the requesting them to not pass into Nirvana, requesting the Buddhas not to pass into Nirvana. The seventh, which is I dedicate the accumulation of virtue for sentient beings to obtain enlightenment, is the last limb, which is the dedication of merit, so that all sentient beings may swiftly attain enlightenment. So that is the short prayer of the 7 limb prayer, the short version. To recite a more extended version, one may recite Chinyesoda chojuji dena tusum sheba mi singe guntagi malu teda tamjela ludang aye dangwe chagi o sambo chibe malam dadagi gyawa tamje igi ngusum du shinge dunye lurab du bayi gyawa kula rab du chazalo duji dena dunye sangenam sange segi uina shuba da teda chugi ina malu ba tamje gyawa dagi kawa me teda ngaba mi se gyazo no yangi yana gyazo dragungi gyawa kungi yunde rab jujin dewal sheba tamje dagi de me do tamba changwa tamba da Sinye namda juba ducho da malme choda dibe tamba yi gyawa te da lani cheba gi naza tamba namda tisho da chima pumari ra nyamba da goba keba pabe chugungi gyawa te da lani cheba gi cheba kana lame gyajewa te da gyawa tamje la yam sambo chela dibe toda gi gyawa guna chasa cheba gi doja shida timo wange ni luda nga da tishin yi gi gyan diba da gi giba jijiba te da tamje da gi sosu sha choju gyawa gunda sange serang gyan nanda loda milo da jawa gungi sonam kala ye te da gungi jesu da ye rang kana choju jiden jomanam 차주된바 상게 마찬이 공부도 다다게 탐제나 콜로 라나메바 고와고 냥인 다든 가시 대단로 조와고 라페신 대위치 가와신기 두니 슈바야 다기 탐어를 저소와기 찾아와다 취진샤바다 지수이랑 쿠시 소와의 개와 중세다기 지사바 탐제 다기 천주 칭모. So this is the extended version. It's quite very clear, so I'll just mention which verse belongs to which of the 7 limbs. So the first verse, the first, second, third, and fourth, So the first 4 verses are of prostration, offering venerance, offering homage to the objects of refuge. And then the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th verse are verses of making offerings. The 8th verse is to confess one's negative deeds. The 9th verse is to rejoice in the good deeds of others. The 10th verse is to request the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to turn the wheel of Dharma. The 11th verse is to request the Buddhas not to pass into Nirvana. And the last verse is dedicating the merit. So that is the extended version of the 7-limb prayer. And then following that, now one must offer the 37-point mandala, the 37-heap mandala offering. So in order to do that, one must first recite the Vajrasattva Heruka mantra several times while wiping the mandala off well. And then one should, following that, then one must offer the 37-point mandala offering. And for that, one just needs to recite that one time, the mandala, 37-point mandala offering, one time. And while reciting that, as I mentioned earlier in the previous video, one should visualize that the cause of all of the universe is one's own good karma, accumulated on 3 times. And it appears in the form, all of the good karma appears in the form of the universe, the Mount Sumeru, the continents, the sun, moon, and all of that, the like. So one should visualize in that way. And also one should visualize that all of the lands, that there's nothing that is impure in the universe, in the mandala offering that one is offering, nothing that is impure, whether it be earth, water, and then houses, lands, whatever it is, everything is pure and wonderful and beautiful. So one should visualize in that way. And the inhabitants are all Mahayana practitioners who are endowed with the 8 freedoms and with the 10 advantages for practicing the Dharma, and all of the good qualities that any person could ever wish for. So one should visualize that. And also one thing that I did not get to mention in the earlier video was that one should also visualize the heavenly realms. So there's the heavenly realm of the 4 great kings of the 4 directions, and that is like around the top of the golden band of mountains. Then also around the base of Mount Sumeru, and then going higher up there's other heavenly realms, like the lower heavenly realms of the desire gods, and then also there is the heaven of the 33, where the king of the gods, Lord Indra, lives. And so one should visualize the 6 desire realms, the 6 heavens of the desire realms to be there. And then on top of that, one should visualize the heaven of the form realms. So that there are 17 form realms, or heavens of the form realms. So one should visualize that, and also visualize one can also visualize the beings of the formless realm, the gods of the formless realm. They do not have a place or a city to live in, but they exist, and they sort of are always in a meditative concentration. So one can visualize all of these gods. And the most important thing is that when one offers the mandala, it should not be with strong attachment that this mandala truly exists, but rather it should be sort of there with the thought or sort of the meditation or the understanding that it is of an empty nature. So the mandala offering which you are making is of an empty nature. Something is there, like the form and all of that is there, beautiful things is there, but the nature of it is empty. So when it's sort of similar to a rainbow. You cannot touch a rainbow. It's visible, it's colorful, but its nature is empty. So something like that. So one should visualize it all there, vibrant, visible, and colorful, but empty of nature. So that is how one should visualize when one makes the mandala offering. So before I start the demonstration, to share an interesting fact, the 37-point mandala offering was composed, the prayer of it was composed and first put into writing by the 7th Sakya teacher, Drögun Chögyal Papa, who was from the Kun family and was the king of Tibet, as well as one of the 5 founding masters of the Sakya tradition. So he was the first one to write this prayer, the 37-point mandala offering. And since then, all of the Tibetan Buddhist traditions have adopted this prayer into their own traditions and practice this and recite this prayer. So this is an interesting fact to know, which I would like to share. And so this, as I mentioned earlier, this 37-point mandala offering just needs to be recited once. And then following that, one mainly needs to recite or count the 7-heap mandala offering, which is the shorter version. So for that, at best would be if you can recite just as the great Sakya master Gaden Dorji Chang or Leparam Rinpoche recited or counted, or you could say accumulated. And he accumulated the mandala offering, the shorter version of the mandala offering, about 1 million times. So that is a great number. And if you can recite that much, that would be most excellent. But even if you cannot recite that much, one can still recite as much as one can. So one should take great endeavors to recite the 7-point mandala offering, as this is a great way to accumulate a lot of merit and purify one's negative deeds very quickly and very easily. So now I will do the demonstration of the 37-point mandala offering.
Shri Bezairuga Samaya Manubalaya Hiruga Denobadi Mebawa Subukayo Mebawa Anurada Mebawa Subukayo Mebawa Sawasidi Mebra Yazasawaga Suzan Sidam Shri Guru Ha Ho Bhagavan Bezairuga Mamuza Hiruga Bama Samaya Sadwa Home Shri Bezairuga Samaya Manubalaya Hiruga Denobadi Mebawa Subukayo Mebawa Anurada Mebawa Subukayo Mebawa Sawasidi Mebra Yazasawaga Suzan Sidam Shri Guru Ha Ho Bhagavan Bezairuga Mamuza Hiruga Bama Samaya Sadwa Home Shri Bezairuga Samaya Manubalaya Hiruga Denobadi Mebawa Subukayo Mebawa Anurada Mebawa Subukayo Mebawa Sawasidi Mebra Yazasawaga Suzan Sidam Shri Guru Ha Ho Bhagavan Bezairuga Mamuza Hiruga Bama Samaya Sadwa Home Benza Bumea Hong Shi Yonsu Taba Wanchen Segi Sa Shi On Benza Reke Ao Chiri Jare Koryugi Kure Visu Hong Rie Gyabu Rira Shara Lipa Bo Loro Zambu Ling Nu Palan Ju Chan Jami Nyin Luda Lipa Ngaya Da Ngaya Shin Yoden Da Lam Chodo Jami Nyen Da Jami Nyen Ge Da Rinpoche Revo Pasam Ge Shin De Ju Yi Pa Ma Me Ba Ye Lo Do Kolo Rinpoche Nobu Rinpoche Zumo Rinpoche Lumbo Rinpoche Lambo Rinpoche Tacho Rinpoche Mabu Rinpoche Tere Chimbo Ye Pumba Gemo Ma Chenwa Ma Lu Ma Kara Ma Dibe Ma Mento Ma Mame Ma Chija Ma Ni Ma Da Wa Rinpoche Du Chole Nambra Gyave Gyatsen Ladami Bajo Puzo Soba Matsawa Meba Tini Chinchin Zawa Dan Gyubra Chebe Padan Lama Tamba Namdan Yidam Kinkoroge Lazo Sange Dan Chanju Semba Tamba Chugyongwe Suma Nuje Nole Tsodan Jeba Namla Ulwa Gyu Tuje Jove Dundu Shesu Su Shene Dagi Gyula Sonamda Yishege Tsonye Yosu Zobra Chinge Labdo Su Jimye Pajada Jeba Tamje Janshin Dabra Chinge Labdo So Rimba Nige Dingenzi Kebra Jin Gyula Gewra Chinge Labdo So Guni Ge Goban Tamba Tobra Chinge Labdo So Omo Guru Buddha Bodhi Sato Sabare Wara Rena Mandala Bunza Mega Samunda Sabarena Samaye Hum. So after having offered the 37-point mandala offering, at the end one just recited the mantra Guru Buddha Bodhisattva Saparevara Rena Mandala Bunza Mega Samunda Sabarana Samayehum. So the meaning of that is, first, if you break up the syllables, Om, the first is Om. So that means bestower of the true accumulations. And then we recite Guru, which is the teacher, or the Lama, and then Buddha is the fully enlightened one. Bodhisattva is the those who are the practitioners, or those who are aspiring for enlightenment. Saparivara is the retinue, the entire retinue, and then we've cited Rena Mandala. So Rena Mandala is the precious jewel mandala offering. And then we've said Puja, which is offering. And Mega is cloud. And then Samudra is ocean. And then Samaya is commitment. And then Hum is the it means overcoming suffering. So that is the meaning of the mantra. So after having recited the 37-point mandala offering with that mantra at the end, now one proceeds to offer the 7-heap mandala offering. So this is the short version of the mandala offering, and this is what one should accumulate as much as one can. So in order to recite this, one should wipe off the grains on the mandala, and then recite Om Benza Bume Ahum Shi Yonsu Tapa Wanchen Seki Sa Shi Om Benza Reke Ah Shi Jari Koyugi Korwe Usu Hum Ri Gabo Rira Shala Lipabo Loro Zambo Lino Palanje Chandamini Nima Dawa Hadami Bajo Pusum Soba Matsawa Meba Tini Chinchin Zawa Dan Gyubra Jebe Balda Lama Tamba Namda Yidam Kinkoroge Lazo Sange Dan Chanju Semba Tamba Chugyongwe Songma Nujin Nole Sodan Jeba Namla Wuwa Gyu Tuje Jove Dundu Shesus Shene Chinge Lavdu So.
Now, following the 37-point mandala offering and the 7-point mandala offering, one now will recite the short mandala offering, which is in the form of verses and composed by the 6th Sakya-Tijan Sakya-Pendita Kunga Gyaltsen. So for that, one will recite Shinkam Nambra Tabadi Uigin Rigab Rirabla Linshi Deyen Ayigin Nima Dawe Korwachil Hamil Lonju Pusum So Gasirinjin Nambadun Deje Padam Pasam Shimame Loto Sedang Duzang Lonju Sami Gang Over Sana Ganum Batlama Sange Namla Pulzobe Sange Toba Sho Omo Guru Buddha Bodhi Sato Sabare Vara Rena Mendala Punza Mega Samunda Sabarana Samaye Hum. And then following that, one will recite the even shorter mandala offering, which goes as 사지부시 주시면도점 주럽린신이데 겜바데 상계신도 미데 불와이 조군 남다신도 쳐봐쇼 오무구루 부다 보디사도 사바레와라나 멘달라 분자메가 사문다 사바라나 사마이. And then following that, one recites the sort of concluding prayers. We call it Kangichuze. So this one is this prayer, which I'm about to recite, is only recited by the Sakyapas. But it is sort of the explanation of the visualization of the earlier made mandala offerings, where you multiply, where you visualize many realms filled with great offerings, and then you sort of issue light from that. Light rays issue forth, and then at the tip of those light rays there are more pure realms, and the number of atoms of an ocean, and then on top of that there is many more realms, and so it's sort of like they multiply the realms and making it very vast. So, and then one visualizes that whatever jewels and excellent things that there are that are desired by the gods and the men and the humans, the men and women, and all of that, everything that is desired by them, one offers all of that, and such as in the similar way as the miraculous offerings of Samanta Bhadra. And so one offers a cloud of offerings in that way, and the duration which one offers this is that one's own offering that one is making fills the space, just like the Dharma Dhatu, the nature of phenomena, and sentient beings reside. So until that time, as long as Dharma Dhatu and sentient beings exist, so as long as they exist, I also make the offerings, these wonderful offerings, to the Buddhas, which are the Dharma kings, the Bodhisattvas, which are their children, the Pratyeka Buddhas, and the Arahats. And I make offerings to them at all times in pleasing them. So this is sort of the meaning of the prayer. And then one recites also and prays that from this time onward, I offer my body, speech, and mind, and also whatever possessions I possess, and all of the good karma that I've accumulated in the 3 times, and I offer it to the Guru and the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and the like. And I offer it for the sake of all sentient beings, and I offer it to you respectfully for their sake. So please compassionately look upon us, and especially myself, and accept my offerings that I'm making to you, and bless me. And then one offers the mandala. So in order to recite, I just mentioned the explanation of the prayer beforehand. So now I will do the actual reciting. So for that, one may pick up the mandala, pick it up like this, and one can hold it like this, and if one wishes to offer in a more respectful manner, one can hold it up to one's forehead, close to above one's head. So one picks it up and then recites. Kangi chöze shinkam gyatsu dunye natso chöbe jimpongge nambara genbe genge wese chochuro chobe wege zemo gyatso yi. Durge chanye rinche bemo rinche wejin gune gebe ningbo la lada miye dunye medi tugu bajung chewa chagya lene la. Gundo sambu namju chishin gune gebe simge jube chudin dire chuyin chishin namge
Kamgun Gunlai Captain Simjin Ying Te Chise Para Nabra Nene Chugi Galbo Gawa Gase Ranga Jale Namgawe Gune Gorwe Ginguro Gundo Nabra Chebe Cheba Gungi Guru Ji Tene Changju Nimbe Para Dage Ludan Longche Da Tusum Gewe Ngubonam Simjin Gungi Tungi Chile Gube Kela Wulwagi Gune Sibe Jenden Ba Yune Tamba Kenamgi Dala Zewe Nirgonde Dage Teda Shesuso Shene Chingi Labdo Solo Omo Guru Buddha Bodhisattva Sabare Vararena Menjala Bunza Mega Samundra Sabarena Samaye. So one recites that. And then following that, one now can place the mandala back on the table. And then one should recite this prayer, which goes as Kyamne Kundu Lama Rinpoche Tinshin Chogi Jala Sowa De Nyame Gajin Chingi Tuji Sik Dichi Pardo Kundu Chingi Lob. So the meaning of this prayer is, to the precious Guru, the collection of all places of refuge, the greatly kind Master of Dharma, I pray, matchless one, benevolent one, look upon me with compassion, and bless me always in this life, the next, and the intermediate state. So by reciting this prayer, one puts oneself in the care of one's Guru completely, whether it be this life, in the Pardo, which is the intermediate state, in the future lives, and up until when one attains enlightenment. One completely puts all of one's trust in the Guru, and one puts oneself under their care and prays to them for them to take care of oneself compassionately. And so when one is reciting this, mentally one should think that other than the Guru, there's no one else who can save oneself from the sufferings of samsara and the like. So there's none that is greater other than the Guru. Because in the Vajrayana, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, they are all emanated or pure from the Guru. So the Guru is the main source. So without the Guru, there is no Buddha, there is no Dharma, there is no Sangha. So therefore the Guru is of utmost importance. And luckily we have met a Guru. Each of us have our own Gurus, from whom one has received Vajrayana empowerments and teachings. So one should put all of one's trust in them and pray that they take care of you. So with that, one should recite this verse as many times as possible with great devotion, and up until the best would be up until one feels so much a strong surge of devotion that one has goosebumps and tears roll down one's cheeks. So if one comes to that limit, then it is a very good sign. And even if that doesn't happen immediately, that is also fine. One should develop great devotion and slowly develop the devotion and sort of make it better, increase the quality of the devotion up until and these signs sort of occur. So one should recite in that way. And then following that, one should recite Chu Latso Vishu Lamatim Tea Rangi Chizu Neshu De Rani Pema Dabki Ni Dedeng Dadu Chameshu Ni Chinabgyu. So what that means is that the assembly of deities, the object of offering, dissolves into light and is absorbed into the Guru. So all of the Yidam deities, and the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, and the like, all of them who are worthy of making offerings to, they all dissolve into light. So they all become light, or they all turn into light, and that light is then absorbed into the Guru. So the light enters the Guru, who is in the form of Buddha Vajratara, which one should remind oneself it's not in a human form, but in the form of the Buddha Vajratara, who is complete with the 32 major and 80 minor signs of a fully enlightened Buddha, and in the Sambhogakaya form.
So one should visualize that all of them, the assembly of deities, the object of offerings, dissolves into light and is absorbed into the Guru Vajradhara. And then the Guru Vajradhara himself enters through the top of one's head and then descends down, slowly descends down up until the Guru Vajradhara arrives at the center of one's heart, where there is an 8-petal lotus with a sun and moon disk in one's heart, and then Guru Vajradhara makes that his seat and forever stays in there, and never parting, and always sits there, and from there on one will receive or obtain his blessings. So I think that has just happened or occurred, that kind of process has just occurred. And then after visualizing that the Guru Vajradhara has taken his seat on the 8-petal lotus, which is along with the sun and moon disk, which is in the center of your heart, then one must sort of take a moment to relax and meditate a bit. And when one meditates, of course one should sit straight. Generally for the whole practice one should sit straight, and then especially right now during the meditation one sits straight and puts one's 2 palms in this way, the sort of mudra of meditation. And when after having recited this verse and visualizing that process, one should now with great devotion and faith meditate upon the suchness or the nature of emptiness. So one should try to meditate on the nature of emptiness now at this moment after having recited this verse. So usually the nature meditating on the nature of emptiness can be difficult for beginners because it is such a profound thing to understand. But if you practice right, the mandala offering correctly, because as I mentioned, it is a very swift way, it very quickly helps you to accumulate the accumulations of merit and wisdom, and also to purify negative deeds. That sort of clears the path. It opens way for you to directly come face to face with the nature of emptiness. So due to that, to the blessings of the Guru and your own efforts, and to the good karma that you've accumulated, and also because now through the mandala offering many of your negative deeds have been purified, the understanding of the nature of emptiness will slowly and gradually, naturally arise in one's mind. So one does not really need to worry as long as one practices well with great devotion. So with that, one takes a moment to meditate in that way, and after having done that, one now recites the ending prayers. And so for this, there is a choice. One can either recite this longer prayer or the short prayer at the end. So the longer prayer, so for the longer prayer, I believe this was composed by Drobun Shogya Papa, and it goes as Tebagya Suchuyun Kunekil Yundin Mento Tsujim Dubujin Shirab Jume Deba Bujutsu Dinzin Duzi Shase Tambadang Tuyani Besinye Dajishin Kunin Inzen Namju Bobayi Dudan Gazin Badin Jenwayi Dalu Shame Kanze Rabgene Ninge Chugi Tide Dagela Debarshube Chuji Chugijin Yebadube Yigi Sodabe Joelama Tadu Nigilchiks. So this is the prayer. Just to recite it so you can identify the objects of offering that we are making now. And so now we are making the offerings, but the Guru and Buddha Vajradhara is in your heart. So you are making offerings to him, knowing that he is inseparable from oneself and never parting. So the prayer goes as in English: the offerings which circle about an ocean of hearing, the flowers, good qualities, a cloud of incense, moral conduct, the offering lamp, wisdom, an ocean of scented water, faith, the holy food and nectar, contemplative trance, the sound produced by cymbals, songs of praise, and by hosting an umbrella, a banner of victory, and streamers. All around compassion, discrimination, and self-reliant wisdom, thus having well adorned the storied mansion, my body, I make offerings to the Lord of Dharma, who is continually seated upon the full white moon and lotus within my heart, and pray with truly deep longing, Preceptor of living beings, may you always be pleased. So one makes this offering, and then if one cannot do this, one can also recite a shorter prayer, which is in one verse, as it says here. So this is also a very simple prayer. It goes as, may all the prayers made for the benefit of living beings by the great and good Vajradhara down to my own kind root Lama be fulfilled today. So this is the practice of the mandala offering, and after having done this session, it is said that during the off time, or the time between the different sessions of the mandala offering, and of course other of the practices included in the mantra, one should spend one's time performing virtuous deeds of the three doors, which is the body, speech, and mind. So one should avoid accumulating any negative deeds at any cost, at all costs. So one should always make sure that one's body is doing something good, that one's body is either offering one's services, making offerings to the Guru, and offering services to the body, to the Guru, and one's speech is always accumulating good deeds as well by praising the Guru, reciting prayers to the Guru, and one's mind is also always accumulating good deeds, such as thinking of the Guru, longing for his blessings, developing devotion towards the Guru, as well as compassion towards all sentient beings. So one should always keep one's body, speech, and mind busy with accumulating virtuous deeds during the off time of the mandala practice. So this is the practice of the mandala offering, which is mentioned in the Ngondro practice by Dejun Rinpoche. It is a very wonderful practice which any practitioner, whether they be of the beginner stage, the any kind of like amateur, or even of the highest stage, all should practice this. It is a wonderful practice that any type of level practitioner should practice with great efforts. And so I would like to thank the Sakya Monastery for giving me this chance to share this Dharma teaching. It is my first time to give a explanation on the mandala as well as the demonstration teaching. So therefore, I'm actually quite inexperienced to give this teaching. And so therefore I may have made mistakes, most likely and possibly have made mistakes in the demonstration or the teaching. So if I have, I request all of my gurus, the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, to be patient with me and to purify any of the negative deeds accumulated due to incorrectly, possibly incorrectly teaching. And I also request all of the listeners to be patient if I have made any type of mistakes. And so thank you once again, and I look forward to giving many other teachings, as the Sakya Monastery has recently requested me to give. So I look forward to that, and I also wish you all the best of luck in your Dharma practice, and especially the mandala practice in particular, and all of your Ngondro practices, such as the refuge, the generation of the enlightenment mind, the Vajrasattva and the Guru Yoga practices in general. Thank you, and please stay safe in these times when the virus is still spreading